At the beginning of this year, I started talking to you about this tension that we were in. How many of you have been here for when I was talking about the pull that pulls us two different ways? Hands for me. I'm going to get some interaction. Very good. We were talking about this idea that we are pulled between what Paul would call the spirit and the flesh, that the spirit and the flesh pull on us both ways. We're always caught between the spirit and the flesh, that we are flesh and we are spirit. Our spirit, connected, especially if we're a Jesus follower, with the Holy Spirit, wants to pull us one direction, but then our flesh wants to pull us another direction. In fact, Paul over and over again talks about how he's caught in this tension and how you kind of have like this inner man, the spirit part that wants things of God, but then your flesh wants this other, and you're caught between it. In fact, that's kind of the story of Romans 7 we talked about a few weeks ago. But right after this, in Romans 8, Paul makes an interesting discussion on the same topic of being caught between these two forces. Listen what he says in Romans 8, 5 through 6 in the ESV, kind of describing this scenario. For those who live according to the flesh, see this, set their minds on the things of the flesh. But those who live according to the Spirit set their minds on the things of the Spirit. For to set the mind on the flesh is death, but to set the mind on the Spirit is life and peace. To set your mind is this Greek word, phroneo. It kind of means like focus, but I actually like it thinking of it like this. It kind of means like parking your mind somewhere. Like parking your mind, putting the car in park in a location. And he's like, if you park your mind in the flesh, you're going to do the flesh. And if you park your mind in the Spirit, you're going to end up doing the Spirit. We read about this pull, right, between us. And he identifies that really the first step is here, before it gets to our actions, before it gets to what we do, the battle begins here between our ears. In order to make sure we follow the Spirit, to be pulled that way, we talked about fasting, where we starve the flesh. But the other side of it is this: if we are to be pulled by the Spirit, we have to make sure that our mind is parked in the Spirit. But this is where the tug of war begins. It begins with a pull in two different directions in our mind. And do you know what the definition of your mind being pulled in two different ways is? Distraction. That word is distraction. Distraction actually comes from Latin, get this, it means to rip or to tear. Distraction. It's literally ripping something apart. And the idea of this in our mind is that our minds can literally be ripped in different directions, or ripped from the place that it was parked to go in a different direction as well. And I think that we, as humans, sit in a uniquely problematic time. Everything we teach about the Bible is timeless, okay? But then the other part that we do with the Bible is we then apply it to the current moment we're in. And in the current moment we are in, it is my belief that we are stuck in an epidemic of distraction. I believe we are the most distracted generation of human beings ever. Ever. For thousands of years, think about this, did you know that people solely talked and communicated to people who were within their physical presence? For thousands of years. For thousands of years, did you know that people only experienced literally what their eyes and ears literally saw in real time around them? And then writing, audio recording, video recording, newspapers, radios, telephones, televisions. And we get so good at being able to communicate information that can move around the world, and the human mind becomes more distracted. Then, of course, computers, video games, cell phones, internet, emails, and communication expands so significantly, and the human mind becomes more distracted. And then technology changed to an extent that was mind-blowing, never ever thought possible. The smartphone. That literally everyone is carrying around a computer 24/7 with them. apps, social media, content platforms. It says right now in the United States of America, 90% of adults carry a smartphone every single day. It's not much better outside. Did you know 70% of the world has a smartphone? 70% of the population of the world carries a smartphone every single day. And we are sucked into distraction. Look at this. Today, the average American spends 5 hours, 16 minutes a day on their smartphone. The average American picks up their smartphone 205 times a day. Do you know what that average is? Once every 5 minutes. All day, from start to finish, over and over and over again. Now, I would love to say, can you believe those people? I looked at my screen time for 2 weeks ago. If you don't know that you can do that, you can. 5 hours, 28 minutes average 2 weeks ago for me. Right on pace with what is normal. Average pickups of 85, averaging over 54 notifications a day, text conversations in that week with over 50 different people, phone conversations with over 54 different people over the course of that 1 week. We are now inundated with communication, no matter when and where we are. Not only that, but we live in this wild place where now we are in what I would call the content explosion. Content. We live in the current creator world where, get this, on YouTube, every minute, 500 hours of content is uploaded. Yeah. Every day, 82 years worth of content is uploaded onto YouTube. On TikTok, 272 videos are uploaded every second. Every second, 272 new TikToks are uploaded. That's over 1 million every hour are uploaded to the platform and created. We have reached a place, get this, where every day more content is added to these main platforms than we could watch for the entirety of the rest of our lives. Every day. Every day, enough content is uploaded that we could watch for every minute of the rest of our life and we couldn't see it. And many of us find ourselves filling up every last minute of our days with it. Within minutes of waking up, it's the first thing we do. A few minutes before we fall asleep, it's the last thing we do. Scrolling, watching, consuming. Finding ourselves always half engaged with whatever we're doing while simultaneously also checking something on our phone. Here's my concern. Romans 8, 5-6, once again. For those who live according to the flesh, set their minds on the things of the flesh. For those who live according to the Spirit, set their minds on the things of the Spirit. Set means to park, to let rest. And here is the thesis of my argument, and then now we're going to get really, really practical. I am concerned that the devil has found a new valuable tactic. If he cannot get you to set your mind on the flesh, he will settle from keeping you from setting your mind on the Spirit. In other words, if he can't get you to set your mind on the things of the flesh, he'll settle for keeping you distracted. That you could stay so distracted, you'd never get to park your mind on the things of the Spirit and actually be able to live in them. Is it possible that if we were to pause some of our distractions, we would recognize that we're missing out on setting our minds on the things of the Spirit? Now, here's where I will just shift incredibly practical. That's the thesis of where we start. And I think instead of a whole bunch more like, what if, I think the only way to know if this is true is literally for you just to try it. Like, I don't think it's theory. I don't think it's just like, like we can talk more about it. I literally think the only way that you could see if this is true is if you were literally just to stop. And you can write this down because I created this a few years back when I was wrestling with this concept. And I wonder if we were to stop, this is an acronym, if we would see something so completely different, we would be convinced that there's actually power inside of this. What if we stop the cycle of distraction? And what if we had an opportunity to park our mind somewhere else? I'll give you these 4 points really quick, and then we'll wrap them up, okay? I promise you, I won't keep you to... I'm not making any promises. What if you tried this? Stop. First thing, S. S is literally just stop. If you're really holy, if you're like really holy, you want to be holy, you can also use this word. Sabbath. That's another S. The first thing that would be possible if you're not distracted is nothing. Which sounds really useless, right? But did you get this? Did you know it's okay to do nothing? Nothing. David wrote this beautiful psalm, Psalm 23, 1-3. The Lord is my shepherd, I have all that I need. He lets me rest in green meadows. He leads me beside peaceful streams. He renews my strength. He guides me along right paths, bringing honor to his name. And some of you are like, as if, right? The picture is this, God is so kind, he will intentionally lead you into moments of rest. And he says that if you are led into this moment of rest, he said, here's the result: contentment, strength, and God being honored. What if your exhaustion is because every time God leads you beside a peaceful stream or a green meadow, metaphorically speaking, a moment where there doesn't need to be something in that, you immediately pull out your phone and start scrolling? What if the reality is God takes you to moments where you're actually just meant to rest? That's meant to bring this about, but instead we just go right to this. Here's a question. What if you're not busy, you're just distracted? Busy, 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 I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy. Are you? Or do you just keep yourself distracted all day? God all throughout the Bible talks about that word Sabbath. This concept all the way back to the Old Testament, right? Exodus 28-10. Remember to observe the Sabbath by keeping it holy. You have 6 days each week for your ordinary work, but on the seventh day is a Sabbath day of rest, dedicated to the Lord your God. On that day, no one in your household may do any work. This includes you, your sons, your daughters, your male and female servants, your livestock, any foreigners living among you. Now that was the law. The law has been fulfilled. But this pattern of rest is true. He goes, you should work and then you should rest. You should work and then you should rest. And definitely what we should try to do is why we meet on Sundays is I try to say you should use your Sundays to worship the Lord and to rest. That should be the goal of your Sundays. Come be part of worshiping the Lord, join a team, serve and worship the Lord, wish your strength, go home, rest, enjoy your family. That's the perfect way to spend a Sunday. Start your day by worshiping the Lord, finish your day by celebrating with your family. That should be our Sabbath. And I understand we live in this modern world where so many people, your schedules are upside down, backwards. They switch once and again and over, and you go, I just can't find time for a Sabbath. But get this really quick. If you are average 5 hours and 16 minutes per day, if you just cut your consumption in half, you would literally gain an entire day of Sabbath every single week. That's how many hours the average person consumes. That it went from 5.16 down to just fact of 2.5. They would end up saving 2.5 hours every single day. You add it up over 7, and you get basically a full day from morning to night that you could rest. Number 2, you can think. The Lord blessed humans with an insanely powerful brain. Our brain was meant to be part of our faith. Jesus actually says this, Matthew 22:37. Jesus replied, "You must love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind." We're not only actually spirit and flesh, he actually bifurcates the flesh into what we would call the heart and the mind. Your soul is the eternal part of you, but your heart is your emotions, it's your gut, it's your feelings, and your mind is your intellect. He says you're supposed to use your mind to love God. Do you think about God? Do you think about your relationship with him and what's going good and what's going bad? Do you ponder on those things? Paul says in 1 Corinthians 15:34, think carefully about what is right and stop sinning. For to your shame, I say that some of you don't know God at all. Paul says some of you haven't spent enough time thinking about God to even know who he is. And then a lot of you, the reason why you're stuck in such sin is because you don't even spend enough time thinking about your life and your relationship with God. He goes, if you just thought carefully about who God is and who you are, you would end up figuring out what's next. Let me say it this way. What if you actually had really good thoughts on faith, the world, your life, but you never get to think them because you are too busy listening to other people's thoughts 6 hours a day? Like, what if you actually are a good thinker? What if you're smart? What if you're intelligent? What if you have good thoughts on this stuff, but you never even get to think your own thoughts because all you do is listen to other people's thoughts 6, 7, 8 hours a day? I'm concerned that this distraction might be causing us to underthink our life. You know, pause and think, just another thing and another thing and another thing and another thing. Number 3, you can observe. This literally means take in sense data. Do you know that the world around us testifies to God's presence? It literally says in Psalm 19, 1-4, the heavens proclaim the glory of God, the skies display his craftsmanship. Day after day they continue to speak, night after night they make him known. They speak without a sound or a word. Their voice is never heard, meaning you have to see it. Yet their message has gone throughout the earth and the words, to all the world. Observing can actually set our minds on the presence of God. I'm afraid that as our phones have become higher and higher resolution, our observation of the world has become lower and lower resolution. We find ourselves staring at this all the time, and these are incredible now. I mean, the screens just keep getting better and better. Such high resolution, and then you literally walk through your day, and this is what everyone looks like. If you saw through my eyes right now, you're all just kind of a blur. There's just like hair, some colors. And I'm afraid that's how most of us are viewing the world now. In everything we do, we're focused on something that's so high resolution, and everything else just becomes low resolution. We don't even see it. Did you know people at the end of the day used to watch these things called sunsets? They just watch the sun go down. This is the coolest thing ever, man. This is amazing. I'm just awestruck right now, staring at this thing. Have we taken time to pause and look at the world around us? Or do we find ourselves going, nah, I need to watch another video of a cat getting a brain freeze? That's way more important right now. I need to watch another video of somebody lip syncing a TikTok video. That's important right now. I would hate to see the world around me. I'm afraid that we're too distracted to see this reality. Even worse, we miss a testimony in God's creation. It's the testimony of God in others. Genesis 1:27 says, so God created human beings in his own image. In the image of God, he created them, male and female, he created them. This means that when we look at people, we see God. And when we miss them, we miss him as well. Never have I believed this more until I had kids. Some of you guys have kids? I'll randomly grab my phone sometimes, and I'll find this is my photo roll. Like the whole thing is just a million pictures. There's Willow, just picture after picture of herself. I had one of these the other day. I got up in the morning, first thing in the morning, get up, and if the kids get up early, she loves to, literally, you can ask Amy, first thing is like snuggle on the couch with me. That's like her favorite thing. And this picture I found early in the morning on this day. I was sitting there, Willow snuggled with me, Isla snuggled with me. This is my older daughter. And I found these pictures, and I was going back through them, and I'm like, she's so cute. She's just so beautiful, her little picture of her. But then during this set of pictures, I found this picture was with it. And Dad's already answering his text messages. Dad's already responding to emails. Dad's already checking his social media. Dad's already worried about what the to-dos are. And when I looked at that picture, it honestly hurt my heart because I was like, here's my little girl, and I missed that moment. I went back and I was like, she's so cute in this, and I was experiencing it again, and I was like, but I missed it when it happened live because I was too busy on my phone. People say all the time, they have to me, I have 4 children. It goes by so fast. Then why in the world would we want to view it at low resolution? If it goes by so fast, why would we want to view it at low resolution? Last, we can pray. Technology has given us the opportunity to talk to everyone, anyone, listen to everyone, anyone. But what if the one person we actually need to talk to isn't found on our phone? Prayer is just a fancy word for talking to God. Philippians 4:6-7 says it this way: don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need, thank him for all he's done, and then you will experience God's peace, which exceeds anything we can understand. His peace will guard your hearts and minds as you live in Christ Jesus. We currently live in a state where worry and anxiety are massively on the rise. And Paul says the opposite of worry is prayer. The opposite of worry is prayer. And he said, when you communicate with God, if you tell him your needs and then you thank him for what he's done, he says, if you communicate openly about what's on your heart and then you have gratitude, what follows will be peace that transcends understanding. What if in your anxiety, what if in your stress, you don't need another opinion, you don't need another hot take, you don't need another commentary? What if you just need the Lord? And what if the rest is a distraction to keep you from actually just talking to him, telling him what you need, thanking him, and receiving as a gift his peace? I'm genuinely concerned what we might be missing today. I'm genuinely concerned that the Lord is speaking consistently, but my worry is that we never park ourselves in the Spirit long enough to even hear his voice. God, I would love to hear your voice on this, and then it's just right back to scrolling for 3 hours. I don't know why I'm not hearing the Lord. Is it possible we've kept ourselves so distracted that though the Lord is speaking, we haven't heard him? In closing, we live in this tension between flesh and spirit, right? Romans 8:5-6 again. For those who live according to the flesh, they set their minds on the things of the flesh. For those who live according to the Spirit, they set their minds on the thing of the Spirit. That's the picture. Where you park your mind is where you're going to be pulled. If the devil can't get your mind parked on the flesh, I worry that he will just shift to keep you from parking your mind in the Spirit if he will just settle for keeping you distracted for the rest of your life here on this world. What would happen if you stopped instead? Is it possible you would see real growth, that real strength would be available? Now, here's the application. Some of you are like, you're right, Cameron, I'm going to scroll less. No, you won't. You're right, I'm going to ease back off. No, you won't. We're terrible at doing things in moderation. So here's what I propose. You don't have to do it. If you're good with all of that chaos, with all that distraction, don't want it, then you can just write off the next few minutes. But if anything I just said connected with you where you're like, that's what's been going on in here, then here's what I'd love to give you as an opportunity to see if this would make a difference. I am proposing a test, and I'm calling it Phone Down February. Phone Down February. Here's my thought. What if you took 4 weeks, the shortest month of the year, and what if you consciously tried to detach from your phone as much as possible in those 4 weeks? What if you took these 4 weeks, and if your goal was, how little can I look at my phone? How far can I remove myself from these distractions? Not, oh, I'll do a little less, do this. No, the exact opposite. I'm going to go in entirely the other direction and see what would happen. If I ran in the other direction, would I find that I'm really, truly missing out on a lot? Or would I find that I've been missing out on having my mind set on the things of the Spirit? Now, how do you do this? First of all, you can literally dumb down a smartphone. Did you know that? You can make a smartphone dumb. They have apps that can do that. Or there's this other really crazy thing. You can just delete all the stuff on there. Did you know that? You can delete all your social media apps. You can literally even delete having your email on there if you just want to check it on your computer. You can delete all those things and just make your phone as dumb as possible for the next 4 weeks. I'm just taking them off. I can turn off all the notifications. The other thing you can do is you can remove the constant stream. What's your stream? Is it Instagram? Is it TikTok? Is it X? Is it YouTube? You can literally just delete that from your phone and you go, yeah, okay, cool. But what if I just didn't consume for the next 4 weeks and instead I was just present. I was just present in my world. I could Sabbath for a minute. I could think for a minute. I could observe and I could pray. And last, but literally, you can literally put it down. On our app, we literally have these. I already have mine up. I don't know if you can see it. You can save these to your wallpaper. So when you open your phone, it just literally says, Phone Down February. Because I know in 5 seconds I'm going to pick up my phone. And then I have to go, right, yep, right, correct. You can literally put your phone down. Did you know that? You don't have to keep it on you at all times, feeling for it at all times. You can go home and you can take your phone and you can put it in the drawer and you can shut it. And when you have a full-blown anxiety attack an hour later, you can come back and check it and oh my God. And 9 out of 10 times you find you miss nothing. I feel like in our current world of distractions, even this concept, you might have this thought in your mind, but what might I miss? What might I miss out on? What would I do without that 10 o'clock scroll through Facebook and getting angry at a random person I went to high school because they have a different political opinion than me? Oh, it'd be devastating, right? I'll be behind on my content. Okay. I'm not going to know what's happening in the world. If it isn't there in a month, you don't need to know about it. Our news has moved to just becoming content. You do know that now, right? Our news is just content now. So much of what people are angry about every single day, no one will be talking about in 30 days. because it really isn't going to change your life. It's just another stream of content. What might I miss? I would say this. What might you gain? What might you gain? If you were to ditch the distractions and just say, what if I just took 1 month and I just got as far away from them as possible? What could happen to my mind? And then listen, if this is terrible, 4 weeks, you go right back to being, distracted. But I wonder if some of us, if we tried this, we would realize, man, this is so much better. This is so much better. I have to change the way I do this because I didn't even know that my mind could work this way. I didn't even realize that I could hear the Lord this way. I didn't even realize who I was walking past and what I wasn't seeing. Would you perhaps try with me this month to have a phone down February? Would you pray with me? God, today I pray that you would help us set our minds on things of the Spirit. This whole beginning of the year, you've been calling us back to the secret place. You've been drawing us away from the flesh. And this is just like a really practical and tactical application of this in our modern 2026 world. I appreciate you doing that, God. Giving me a message that's not just theoretical, but we sit at a really difficult crossroads, and your word has wisdom to speak to us right now in this crazy, distracted world. And I pray that you would give us the courage to try something different like this. And I pray, Lord, that as we do, our minds could be set on the Spirit. And as they are, Lord, our lives would begin to be pulled towards the things of the Spirit like never before. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.